Good morning, welcome to the Weekender. It's been launch week for Soul Wars.
Yes!
Woo! So, we did an unboxing about it. We're going to show off some of the minis a little bit later in the show. But we have been getting stuck in to the new Age of Sigmar 2-player starter set. And it is all sorts of awesome.
They are by far my favourite miniatures that Games Workshop have ever produced.
But we thought it was an opportunity to lay out a gaming table for us to have a little bit of a game of it later on. But that, of course, means it's time for Warren Meets Matt. I had to get that sexy intro in there.
Had to.
Okay, so the box contains Stormcast Eternals,
and Nighthaunts.
Yeah.
Nighthaunts, which they're part of Legion of the Dead or something, aren't they?
Yeah, these gribbly goodies here.
Yeah. So we were reading through the background to the Nighthaunts and stuff like that, and we thought, yeah, we want to go for something really kind of, I don't know,
Gothic,
wintry and cold. I was thinking graveyards and stuff like that, and then Justin says, "No, what I like is." Do you remember that scene in Lord of the Rings? So we're going to pull a few.
Whichever scene it is, yes, I remember it.
Where the ghosts came off the ships.
Yes.
Oh,
And then went and then
the
went
Legion of the Dead is amazing.
And then they went in through almost that kind of like castle area and stuff. So we thought, what about that? And then also, I was also thinking, well, if we do it with this stuff here, it would have almost like a Winterfell kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And the White Walkers
coming
in off that there. So we got to go. And so what we have a few bits. So this week we selected a mat. It's been out for a while, but it's still one of my favorites. Okay, and this is from Game Mat EU. I think it's called the Winter Realm. And I love it because there's a summer version of this mat, and this happens to be the snowy winter version of it.
Yeah.
But it's the same footpath,
you know,
same paving and stuff like that all through it.
I've seen both these mats laid out side by side, and you saying that is the first time I've realised they're the same layout.
Really? Oh, you didn't catch on yet?
No, that's embarrassing.
But isn't it cool?
Yeah.
I love that. The fact that there's a summer version of it and a winter version of it.
It's literally cool.
It is literally cool.
Ow.
So on that, I picked out another Game Mat EU thing because this was a classic opportunity to get it out, and this is the medieval. What is it? The medieval town range. Yeah.
So you've got the medieval castle,
Medieval castle.
medieval houses.
Medieval houses.
We've also got a couple of bits from the Gothic range, which is the Gothic temple and the Gothic walls.
Right.
All Game Mat EU.
So this is all Game Mat EU.
Yeah.
And even these wee incidental bits and pieces of crates are
from them as well.
That's from a Game Mat EU as well.
I've actually made use of these terrain pieces quite extensively in the past for Lord of the Rings and various other games here in the club.
So let's get some close up. So first though, you have this kind of castle set, okay?
Yeah.
And it's you got your towers, and then you have your walls, and you just literally just plump them together like that. I think it's flipping awesome.
Yeah, I was thinking like curtain walls whenever this got laid out.
Yeah.
These are my particular favourites because we have the
Intact?
Yeah, intact, and then we have the bit where the dead have already been.
Yes, where it's all started to been exploded out.
Yeah.
They're very, very cool. I happen to like the dark colour scheme on this as well. Ever since I watched Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones gave me, because there was two iconic castles in Game of Thrones. One is Winterfell,
of course.
Which it has this kind of a feel about it. But there was also that castle. Is it the castle where the flayed man? There was an old derelict castle, and Arya was being
the one
was
that got
held
melted
kind of
by
captured
dragon
there.
I know the one you mean. Yeah.
So it was melted by dragon fire. That's right.
Yeah, that's
he remembers.
I read the books.
But that dark castle thing works really well. The little houses, you can't play through them, but they look great. And this stuff all comes pre-painted, so it's nice and fast. You're talking about 10, 15 minutes to lay out a table if you have it sitting handy. Yeah. So you then have, what's this, the shrine?
Yeah, the Gothic temple.
Gothic temple.
Gothic walls.
These are your Gothic walls. I would be more inclined to potentially lay that out a little bit more.
Structure
Like
like
that, as
Now,
if it were a structure.
I feel I should say these Gothic walls. I believe they're also in part of the Gothic Ruin set. And Game Matter, you have just released a smaller set of that, suitable for smaller table builds.
Awesome. Look at that there. Doesn't that just go together nice?
It does.
I like that. So onto the table itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about these paving stones, guys. The cobbles just pop through. Because, winter mat, there are some winter mats that are basically like a white blanket.
Yeah.
Which is fair enough. There are places where it would be like that, but not here.
But not here.
Well, I like the pass because they actually sort of help you give the narrative to what you're laying out. That front curtain wall where the 2 portcullis are,
Yes.
that's the pathways in from like 2 different directions, and it makes sense to have them where they are.
So we have a pathway coming through to here, through to a portcullis, if you can get in there. And then the same over here, pathway coming through. And if you can zoom through, John, if you get down low, here we have. Does anybody know the name of this beastie?
Oh, it's one of the
Ravening Maw, I think it is.
A ravening maw.
It's one of the spell effects.
Everybody loves a ravening maw. So this is part of the new spell effects.
Malign sorcery.
Malign sorcery, along with these two here.
Yeah, so we're going to have a bit of a play with these later on as well. This is awesome. Yeah. I am really glad to see spells getting miniatures of their own.
And in coloured plastic too.
Nom. Very nice. Have a check back at the unboxings that went out on Thursday to get a look at those.
Now there was one thing we actually discovered about these during the unboxings. These spells are actually persistent, so once you cast them, they stay on the tabletop.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's not just, I'm going to put it down for a round and then it's going away. No, it's out there till the better end.
If you've got something like that, which is basically Jaws, you want it running around, munch.
It makes a big difference from the old days where you'd cast Comet at Cassandora, put down a 10-pence piece, and that was the comet smashing into the table every turn.
Yes, I think it's a very good move. I think it's a wonderful addition, actually, to the Age of Sigmar. And I think it'll make for some really interesting types of spell mechanics and things like that. It takes us away from Magic Bolt and stuff. If you can have a spell, just imagine in here a spell, and then you cast other spells to control that initial spell and move it around and stuff. There's really cool stuff you can do with that.
This one I actually remember what it does.
Okay, the 2 blue bollocks of death. Yeah.
Well, one of them is actually an orb of purest light.
Of course.
The other one is an orb of purest darkness.
Right, okay. And which one's which?
Well, until you paint them, you don't know.
All right. And is that part of the challenge in the game, is it?
I don't know, but
that one's light, that one's darkness.
As these move over models, they'll actually start to take mortal wounds from them.
Yeah.
The cool thing is, depending on which of the realms you're playing in for Age of Sigmar, if you're playing in the right realm, these spells actually get a boost, so they're tied to a realm.
Yeah.
So one of those is for the realm of light, the other for the realm of darkness, some for the realm of death.
And what happens if they touch each other?
I don't know. I don't think you can cross the stream.
Yeah. I wonder if they touch each other. Anyway, stay tuned and we will try to find out what with the 2 blue bollocks of death, just what's going to happen there. Right. So yeah, we have this set up. We're going to be playing this a bit later on, but we're going to head into the studio now. We're going to hoover some of these up because I want to show off a couple of these minis because this box set is a sight to behold.
I'm grabbing my favourite.
Okay, see you in there, guys. Right, time to get on with the show. Okay. A couple of quick updates before we get started. Oh, hi, Ben.
Hello.
Welcome aboard. No Robo Ben in the cage, unfortunately.
No
yet.
Robo Ben.
We will make a Robo Ben.
Yes. So we are hoping to have some of our team head to Battlefront for the Battlefront Open Day taking place in Nottingham at the end of June.
Yep.
We just have to sort out some itineraries and stuff and get those guys across to that. And then we also want to let you know that the UK Games Expo prizes are all still up for grabs.
Yeah, 44 prizes?
44 prizes, board games, miniatures games, huge terrain packages. They're all in there. All you have to do is come across and watch the live blogs, the 3 live blogs, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday live blogs of UK Games Expo. They'll be in the show notes. Isn't that right, gentlemen? The links will be in the show notes.
Yep. They're all in there.
Go through, put your comments against the things that you would like to be in with a chance of winning. Free to enter. You can enter from anywhere in the world. Just get stuck in because you never know.
You never
there
know.
are some incredible prizes in there.
Yeah. So we promised you in the cage we would have a little bit of a closer look. I don't want to spend too long on this because we do have an unboxing that you guys have done of all of this, but I just wanted to get a chat about the Soul Wars. Oh my word, Ben.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful box set. What have you thought yourself so far of what you've seen?
Genuinely one of the best box sets I've seen Games Workshop do for a very long time. Some amazing new models there for both the Stormcast Eternals and the Nighthaunt. Really nice seeing this alternative force going up against the Stormcast there. It's one of the big things that I think has been a bugbear for a lot of people is that obviously we're seeing a lot of Stormcast versus Chaos, and you see that in 40k as well. You've got Imperials versus Chaos, but it's nice to see them going with an alternative force here, and it's also telling a little bit more of a new story and taking things in a new narrative direction as well, which is nice as well. So yeah, and of course you get all the bits and pieces, the nice accessories as well like that as well. I believe all the rules and things are online and they're free to download as well, so you can go and check out. I think it's about a 20-page rule document now you can go and check out. Which is very cool. So yeah, very nice
box ticked. Beautiful work by the design studio.
I have noticed a thing here.
What?
So in this image that we're seeing here, there's actually one more set in this that's actually not in here. You see in the bottom right here?
The chests.
The chest, the tomb, the little arcane, I don't even know what you would call this.
Plinth?
Yeah, it's a little plinth with a little bit of tack on it, and then the chain stone.
Yeah.
That is not in either of the two boxes that I have seen.
That's the new, I think it's called Mortal Realms objective set or whatever it's called. It'll be available as the pre-orders this weekend, so today.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's available if you go and pick up, and it allows you to set up some cool objectives that have a narrative focus to them on the battlefield.
I like the look of them. They're a nice touch to have.
Yeah, the malign sorcery package.
Yes,
it's just amazing. Let me show you a couple of bits. I don't know how much of this you're going to be able to see, but let me start off by showing you. This is where are we at? Look at that. The jaws of doom. Talk about fun pieces to be rampaging around your tabletop.
I'm guessing that these are from the Law of Beasts or whatever their equivalent is in Age of Sigmar. So the Wind of Gaish, the Plane of Gaish.
Yeah, this is like a tidal wave of dead.
Yeah,
it's just.
I would love to see the way people are going to paint that one up.
Some of my other favorites, I happen to love this one.
The pendulum.
It's basically just a big pendulum axe. You can just imagine that just going whoop, whoop, and slicing you to bits. Here we have, look at that, Sam. How awesome is that?
That is incredible. It reminds me of when I used to play Fable, and one of my favourite spells was just to conjure a bunch of swords around me to shoot at people.
Well, these actually do that in game because after they move, they essentially get like a 12 dice attack.
Oh,
your opponent.
Goodness me! You then have what are probably likely to be portals.
Yeah.
There's a couple of these that can move around the table, and I imagine you go in one, come out the other.
This is the sort of play I love in games. I love doing that whole tricksy. I'm hopping in over here, and I'm over on this side of the table now.
You see, you get two of those in the set, and the cool thing is, if you're in the right realm, there's a range on these. So you'll cast your first one. And then your second one goes up to 18 inches away. If you're in the right realm, you can place the second one anywhere on the tabletop. So you could have a wizard turning up in the back end of Beyond.
That's what I love doing. Now you're thinking with portals.
Yeah, and I love this. Magic has got a little bit stale over the years, so it's nice to see them experimenting with some new
narrative,
different ways of doing it. Yeah,
it's funny you mention that because Magic was the thing that drew me into the gaming side of things in the first place. I started collecting the Lizardmen and the Slam back in the day because the Slam were the best Magic users.
Master Mages.
I wanted to see all those spells going off.
And then we have this one. Sam, this is your favourite.
I absolutely love this one.
Let me see if I can get in a bit closer.
I can't remember the name of this one.
Chronomantic
there you go.
Cogs.
Chronomantic Cogs. What a great way of showing a time spell.
Yeah. And the actual mechanics of the time spell on the tabletop are actually very cool. So this thing, it can basically be activated by any wizard on the tabletop. So you might cast this, but your opponent can activate it.
Oh, lovely.
It essentially has two buttons on it. So one of them is to speed time up, which means that everybody on the tabletop gets a plus 2 inches of movement, plus 2 inches to their charge range. However, the other button slows it down. So your wizard gets extra time to cast an extra spell and gets a reroll on his saves. So you've got a nice offensive and defensive sort of buff to it.
That is smart stuff. I
like that.
that. I really like that.
All this is now selling me on Age of Sigmar. What is happening? What is happening in there?
I've been getting more and more sold on it as we go along. Will we pick out some of our favourite miniatures?
Yeah.
Let me start with the most precarious miniature I have ever seen.
Can I just choose the entire Nighthaunt army?
You can. But check out this guy here.
Look,
right?
Justin, it's Casper.
Like, when I say precarious, goodness me, that miniature is held by that one tiny bit of plastic there. This is the only. I love it. Let me just say from the outset, I love it. I think as a piece of design goes, it is absolutely beautiful. I do wonder though, right? And this is just a bit of feedback for the design studio.
I think I may have already said this in the unboxing.
You may have. Is there anything that you could come up with to reinforce that, or have you guys got your own kind of methods of testing and things like that make you confident that that's not going to break? Because if that breaks, I can't imagine that being a particularly easy thing to fix either, because there's not a lot there to put pins and things into to try and fix it. Well, and so much as I love this and I adore it as a piece of design, I can't praise you high enough, but I want to be able to play with these things as well.
Yeah.
Careful now.
Yeah, there's one way I would make this just a smidge stronger. See along this edge here?
Yeah.
Just a little line of glue, pinch it together. And I think that would strengthen it just enough to get away with it.
Possibly. What I was thinking more along the lines of, I don't know what I was thinking more along the lines of. I was wondering if it had even like a little metal sleeve or something that could have went over that part.
You might get some people that will actually take the plastic component out and actually replace it with a bit of brass rod.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure you've tested it, but having had a look, this isn't the only one. A lot of these.
Yeah, they have very fine connections.
Very. The connections are so fine on these now.
This one's a great example as well here.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I want to talk about this guy in a bit because he kind of epitomizes to me the whole design aesthetic of the Nighthaunt army.
Yeah. It's just, maybe not everybody's as clumsy as me. And we all know that I'm probably the clumsiest gamer on the planet. I drop models all the time. I knock that one over.
This is why I haven't let you near the Celestial range before today.
Yeah, they are, I can't deny though, they are just so beautiful. I just want to own them. I just want an army of these.
I really want
these guys and the aquatic
the Idoneth Deepkin.
Are just
sold.
Although even their big miniature kind of had the same thing, because I got to build it. And you have that cloak that's sort of turning into water. The connection points do get very fine as you go further down that. It's still strong.
It's heartbreaking though if you've spent a lot of time painting that, and then you go along.
It's one of those ones you would spend the extra time on.
Even putting those things in and out of a foam case, I do worry about them. Because the weapons and the little fine bits catch on the foam, and you pull it out, and next thing it.
Yeah, these are quite spiky as well.
Yeah. Let me show you some other. Knocked another one over. Lovely.
Yeah.
Let's check
this is your commander.
Yeah. So what do we know about this guy?
He's basically the leader of your army, but I love the way they've done the sculpt on this because of all the voids and stuff that they've played with.
It's just incredible. Look at that.
So seeing those empty spaces. I mean, I was talking to John about how I would paint these. I would do them with a black primer.
Yeah.
And then zenith over the top, leaving all of those empty voids as dark as I possibly could.
Yes, I agree.
And then just not worry about painting those. And I think it could look really striking.
I would do the opposite. I'd go whites with washes, just very
white
simple.
And washes is the way forward.
Yeah, white and washes for very simple ghostly effect. The first ghost army I ever saw were before Warhammer had many ghost figures. Someone made an undead themed army of dwarves.
Yeah.
It was just normal dwarf models that they painted whites and washed and then thrown in some of the undead models to make a full ghost army.
Games Workshop actually, when this stuff comes out this weekend, they've actually got two new paints, two new washes, or technical paints, I suppose you call them, that they're going to be able to use when you're painting your Nighthaunt. And as you might imagine, you just spray them white, and then you just put this technical paint over the top. And they said if that's what you want to do, you can just leave them like that.
Finally, a paint scheme for me.
I see. Cool. For me, I think you have to do that black first, and then maybe zenith with the white, and then put your technical paint down.
Yeah, that would be interesting for anybody with an airbrush. Do you know what? We'll set John to try that. What we're going to do is we're going to get John his probably his next project after doing the battle systems table.
Yeah.
Is going to be moving on to painting up these bad boys.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to quickly talk about some of these miniatures.
Yeah, okay.
I know we've already got the unboxing, so you're probably tired of hearing us talking about these right now. But I want to bring attention to these because, and this guy here as well that we showed off before, because these show off to me what is the flavor of this new force, of this new army.
Yeah.
It's not just an army of ghosts. These guys fit into the lore of Nagash's legions in that they are almost his twisted sense of justice. They're the things the souls he has given punishment to after they're dead. The whole army is like that. So you can see across the board chains and keys and locks and implements of torture.
So that's not
them.
just Jacob Marley inspired.
That's what I was thinking.
Stuff, is it?
That's what had me so excited.
Yeah.
All that Jacob Marley imagery. I love it.
It's the biggest thing that's happened in the storyline with this box is the necroquake that Nagash instigated. So he basically grabbed essentially the equivalent to warpstone now within the world, gathered it all into the center of the realm, because all the magic was to the outside of this realm. He has gathered it all in the center, built it into a big upside down pyramid, started a ritual which set the pyramid to turning, but instead of boring down, it actually grasped the realm and started to twist and drag it down into a cone shape. So now all the souls from the outer side of the realm are all funneling slowly toward him.
All sliding
being
in.
drawn towards him to
So
actually feed him his
gravitational
powder.
effect.
Yeah.
He just totally reversed the polarity on it, didn't he? Yeah, it's like
The other thing though is that has completely screwed up the magic of all the realms.
Yeah.
So because of see the way we have these spells now, they're actually because of that necroquake, because the magical energies within the rest of the realms have been thrown completely out of balance. So basically, your average hedge wizard is now superpowered.
Whoa! Something's going down.
Yeah. Of course, that might burn out his brain.
Can we show off one of the big Stormcast guys?
Oh yeah. This is their commander.
Sam, you look like you had something to say, man.
I will wait until the end of showing off these models because there has been a new model revealed.
Okay, right, we'll have a link. First, wait. Let's show off these models. Off this here first. So, who is this guy?
So that is the leader for the Sigmaran forces. He's on a Griff Charger. Very, very cool looking guy. I love the way they've started adding tabards and stuff to the actual guys themselves, because it makes them feel a bit more alive, if that makes any sense. Whenever it was just them in the blank armor, it felt a little soulless, but actually capturing that little bit of motion in them with the flowing cloaks and stuff is really nice. I can't remember his name for the life of me.
We can see that actually in these two guys here.
Yeah.
You can see the cloaks and tabards and things.
I'll admit, the Stormcast Eternals are probably the one part of the game that still don't entirely sell me.
Really?
Yeah.
There may be the one part that maybe feels a little bit more derivative, though, than the rest of it. They don't quite have that sense of maybe the freshness that the undead have.
It's something that I think is going to come out as we see the narrative developing a little bit more, and when people dive into the narrative, because I think I've maybe talked about this on a previous weekender, but I read a couple of the books starting out from the very beginning of Age of Sigmar and all that kind of thing, and actually a lot of these Stormcast Eternals do have a lot of character and depth to them as well. It's just wasn't really shown when we first saw a lot of the range coming out. One of the interesting things that's going to happen now is where things go forward in the narrative, and I believe we talked about it a bit, but with the Stormcast Eternals, one of the big things about them is that they are eternally reforged. So every time they die, they are taken back up to Azerheim and they are reforged back into their armor and they go back to fight again. However, this reforging process is starting to slowly wither away their soul, and especially when we saw in Shadespire, one of the characters there, Oberyn, was a huge Stormcast Eternal whose soul had been effectively ripped to pieces so many times that he practically had no soul left, and he was this very grim and dour person. But one of the interesting things is what happens when the souls don't get taken away, and that's where the Nighthaunt come in, and where the souls of the Stormcast Eternals are getting dragged off into Nagash's realm. And also, there are a lot of people that are talking about potentially seeing a twist in the narrative in terms of what the Stormcast are and what they can become, because there may be going to be some members of the Stormcast Eternals who maybe don't look to Sigmar as quite the godly figure that he is, and maybe we're going to start to see some of them becoming what are called the Unforged. So maybe those that have stepped away from Sigmar's light. So maybe we're going to get a little bit of the whole sort of 40k sort
Chaos
of
Space Marines, yeah.
So yeah, that could be very, very
Well,
cool.
I disagree. Please don't do that.
Yeah.
Please don't do that.
They're already Chaos Warriors.
Yeah, I struggle as it is to look at them and not see a Space Marine. If you start to do the Chaos Space Marine thing, it just adds another big dollop to the derivative aspect of it.
The interesting thing about that, though, is that obviously we do still have Chaos as what it stands, but it would be interesting to see if they do some kind of version of the Stormcast that see themselves a little bit more free from what Sigmar is all about.
That could be an interesting side thing. I've always liked in any fiction, I like the Grey Jedi path.
Yes. Yes.
So it could be interesting if they take that route.
Although I do have a question, Ben. Whenever we first saw these guys, the assumption was that it was just a spirit forged inside armor. Are they reforged into a new physical form?
Their physical form is redone. Like when inside a suit of armor is definitely a person.
Yeah.
So that person is reborn as a new being of elemental power and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, even if they were brought forth from one of the other races. That was a misconception I had to actually begin with, because I thought it was just like energy inside the armor.
Well, we also have
artillery,
an artillery piece.
You can see that it's not just energy inside the armor with the captain there. He's got his helmet off.
He's got a head. Yeah. So, awesome. You say there's a new model out as well?
There is indeed, and it's the leader of the Night Horse. The Mortarch of Grief has been revealed.
The Mortarch of Grief.
I don't believe it's released yet.
Oh, look at it!
Yeah, so at the head of the Nighthaunt are, I believe, 3 or 4 different Mortarchs. Anyone that was familiar with the end times will know that there was the Mortarchs that came out and they served Nagash in the rendering of the world and stuff like that. But this is the new interpretation of the Mortarchs, and this is just one of them, the Mortarch of Grief, who was a lady in normal life, and she was a bit of a miser and a wheeler dealer. And so Nagash has punished her and turned her into what you see here, and now she serves as like almost like a banshee on the battlefield. So yeah, very cool.
I think that I like the tea towel over the head. I think
the tea towel.
I do. I think I do like that. I know that's been a talking point for a lot of people. Some people think the head lacks detail, but I actually like it. But then I'm with you on this. I think the thing that's appealing to me so much is that I'm getting. From this cavalry guy, I get shades of Darby O'Gill and Little People.
Oh, heck yes.
With the guy with the chains, I'm getting shades of Ebenezer, of Jacob Marley.
It's all that gothic horror that I absolutely love.
Maybe this stuff is maybe in our community, because I have seen people talk about the head. I wonder if you're American, and I wonder if some of this stuff.
Is it more tailored to British?
Is maybe we get it very cool. Maybe we get it because
that one looks very derivative of the Women in White law, which is kind of global.
Yeah. So. Well, okay. I don't know. Maybe I'm over. Maybe just over reading into the thing. But I wondered, because looking at it, I think it's really evocative.
I can tell you exactly what that reminds me of. Actually, you've got the wedding veil and the sort of almost wedding dress. It's that. It's the character from Great Expectations by Charles Dickens.
Miss Havisham.
That's it. Thank you, Ben. Thank you. It's Miss Havisham. Yeah.
I do have one problem.
The tiny aspect of the base.
Single connection.
A single connection once again.
Although I love the way you've got this sort of rose vine running in and through and actually going through the ghostly sort of material.
Yeah. I wonder how you paint that.
So what were you going to say there, Ben?
Yeah.
I was just going to say that the thing I really like, a lot of people, as you say, have talked about the way that the head has been done, but I really like it because it almost has that horror thing, whereas if it's a little bit like a white sheet, it's like a kid in a ghost costume, but it's like that horrible skeletal face pushing against the material, and I just love that almost like yawning, gaping maw that's going to be coming out there, and that wail that you can imagine echoing from her as well.
I'm
sure
sure
on some of the other models as well that you've got in the Nighthaunt range.
Yeah, I'm sure that wasn't easy to do. I'm sure. You look at something like that and you think, that was maybe a shortcut. I bet you that there was no shortcuts in sculpting that. So.
There is one other thing I just wanted. Can you go back there? Not to the model, to the art.
To the art.
Yeah. If you go down there to that piece of art.
This?
Yeah. Now we see here, that's the Mortarch of Grief going up before Nagash. But here in the shadows, just before us, I recognise that shadowy figure in the Crimson Cloak. That, I believe, is Manfred von Karstein, the Mortarch of Blood. He was there in the end times. A vampire.
Yeah, I know Manfred, yeah.
Very politically minded, a manipulator.
Manfred was devastating, if I remember correctly, back in 7th edition with the Raise the Dead spells or something like that there.
Yeah.
It was,
Manfred was insane.
Although I wonder who these two shadowy figures are.
Probably 2 more of the Mortarchs.
Yeah.
So maybe she is supposed to be the newest of the Mortarchs. Maybe a little friction could be turning up there.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Will we do our little basing segment? Or
Yeah.
It's time for It's All About the Base.
Why not?
Whip him out! Whip him out!
I thought you were waiting for...
Don't stand staring at me, man. I've done the intro. It's your turn now. Get him out!
I thought you were going for a cut.
Alright, so who's this week?
Right.
I think these are me.
So, wait. I set you a challenge to dig through our bases to find a base style that you guys think would be a good option to use with Soul Wars. Okay.
Yes.
So you were given your chance. What did you pick out, and why?
Let me get a couple of these out.
Well, these are, we should say, both of these sets of bases are from MicroArt's range.
Okay, so this is MicroArt Studios. Yep.
Yeah.
So here are the ones that I picked. These are for the Nighthaunts, and what I picked was a very nice, very dark sort of desert filled with ruins and bones.
These are the Wastelands bases.
Now, I chose these because I think they fit the realm very well. And I think the outside, if I remember right, whenever I was reading through the backstory, the outside there's like sand dunes and stuff with the actual elemental sort of powers. Now, do these bases match the size?
No, we need to order in the right ones, but at least we can get the gist of the actual texture that you're going
now,
for.
The guys actually have some...
Do you have some painted ones there so we can see?
So
can
if I pull them up, and I will zoom in.
Oh, yes.
So you've got just like the dead and the dying bits of bones coming through here. They also do the nice circular ones, which you can use for like your infantry and stuff. And I think this just fits with the narrative of it really well. It just suits my style of how I imagine these would go.
That is quite nice.
It does rather fit given Nagash's background in the old world where he came from Khemri, so the Arabic Egyptian world.
Yeah.
Now,
okay, what did you choose? Did you go for the Stormcast?
Yeah, I picked some stuff out for the Stormcast. And these are some of the ancient bases, if you take a look at these. And I like them because they have these very nice mosaic type floors, decorative tiles, but there's leaves strewn among them, so you can get the feeling
opportunities
of
for colour. Yes, for little bits of beauty. Little bits of soft vibrancy, which I think would suit the Stormcast Eternals really well.
Yeah. I think
interestingly, sorry, I was just going to say those bases would work very well in concert with what we saw when we were looking at the Stormcast Eternals that showed up in Shadespire, because that was that dead city that had been taken over by death and in the realm of Shaesh.
Yeah.
So that would be a really nice twist and turn into that as well. That'd be very cool.
We have some. Are they the
if
same
you go
range?
down to some colour, ancient round bases. There you go.
I'll open up a couple of them here to give you a look at them.
Because this would be more inclined. I see the colour when the colour's added. Oh, that is beautiful, Sam.
Yeah.
Oh, they are very, very beautiful. And they will fit very well. Look,
they have one of my particular peeves when it comes to bases is that sometimes the cinematic look goes a little too far and you sacrifice practicality. These still have a nice bit of space for basing.
Yes.
So it won't make things too difficult, especially with the Stormcast where you've got the Stormcast
actually have a fairly sizable footprint.
Yeah.
It'll make no difference whatsoever for the dead guys because they're all on tiny little pins.
But those, if you're cleaning off the bottom peg that they've all went in, because it's all slaughter for them.
No, it's all slaughter, yeah.
Yeah, from there you can probably find a point on it to actually put a couple of pins up through the resin base.
I wonder, did they make those slaughter to give them some strength?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Now, while I was going through the MicroArt website, I did spot one range of bases, which unfortunately we don't have.
Yeah.
But I just went, these are perfect. And they have a range of graveyard bases.
Oh, let's see those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just bring these up.
Please?
Yes.
Oh, look at those.
And again, these are a bit cluttered, but for these models, that won't matter at all.
It won't matter at all for these ones.
Yes,
Yeah, for
these
the undead.
are perfect. They're grim and gothic. A lot of the models already show them emerging from gravestones.
Yes. Yeah, I really like that style. Definitely. That's a +1 for me on that one. Right. I think it's time for a little bit of news. Ben, shall we have a little steer through what's been going on in the world?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, kick us off. What are we looking at?
Cool. So the first bit of news we're actually going to be looking at is from the folks at Forged in Battle, who are also Westwind Productions. But Forged in Battle is what they've been going under when they're looking at a lot more of their different ranges in smaller scales. And one of the smaller scales they're working in is 1/3000th.
Yep.
Who would have thought we'd be looking at that? And this is a set of naval releases that they've brought out for people who want to get stuck into that era of battle during the Napoleonic era and stuff like that. So we not only have a set of miniatures that was brought out for people who want to get stuck into the Battle of the Nile, but we also have a couple of other sets that were done for the Battle of Copenhagen as well. So that is the facing off between the British and the Danish. And one of the big things about these is this is the one that you might have known that Nelson took part in. So if you want to fight out some of those amazing battles with him, you've got some very cool options for this one. As I say, they've done 2 sets already, and I'm sure they're going to be branching out to do a lot more as well going forward, which is very, very nice. But all of these, as you say, are all nicely done, so you can package them up and play out very cool battles on the tabletop. The only thing I was going to ask, actually, for anybody in the community, is what kind of rule sets you would use to actually play these out on, because we know there are a lot of stuff out there for naval warfare. What's the key one that people use when it comes down to sitting at the tabletop and playing games? So maybe if you've got some ideas for that, you could drop those into the comments.
That is one for you guys, definitely. And Commodore Rob, I'm sure will have something to say about that. Can we bring up that image? Were those floating forts?
Yeah, it looks like there's some naval forts there.
So there's Raft batteries and Trey Connor Fort and the Lennoton Battery. I wonder, did they build floating forts? Because that'd be kind of amazing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be very cool indeed. I'd love to know a little bit more about the history of this, because obviously Nelson was a very enigmatic figure and everything like that as well. One of the big things I believe that they actually talked about and we showed off in the article is that during one of the battles against the Danish, he was told to retreat. And he turned around to his first mate and he said, "You know, Foley, I only have one eye. I have the right to be blind sometimes, and I really don't see the signal to retreat." So yeah, if you want to actually play out these really awesome battles on the tabletop, you've now got some very cool options to do that with here. You see from stuff with Fortune Battle. I do also want to point out that Fortune Battle do some very, very nice stuff in 15mm, in 6mm, and a whole bunch of other stuff for World War II, for Ancients, for medieval stuff as well. So really go and check out the rest of their website.
They do some beautiful Roman stuff. I think that they Kickstarted a couple of years back. It's great. Yeah.
No,
they were on Kickstarter. I think it was twice, and they did a set of stuff for sort of early Rome and then stuff for later Rome as well. So you've got not just Romans, but also Gauls, Greeks, and the rest of the ancient pantheon of races and cultures as well. So yeah.
Now, I saw that triangular fort there in the corner, and all I thought was, we could do a war game in that place we ended up in or at UK Games Expo. Where was it? What was that place called?
New Brighton.
New Brighton, that was it.
Oh, yeah. You guys disappeared at one point. How was New Brighton?
New Brighton was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It was amazing. New Brighton is like Liverpool's seaside town.
2.0.
Yeah. It's like a...
Do they still have the accent?
Yes.
Okay.
It's basically like a new version of Brighton.
Okay.
And their view of the industrial sector is amazing. It's quite an experience. I'd highly recommend it for anybody to do their best to get there. Yeah.
I believe Lance documented some of it, so hopefully.
Yeah, we'll show you.
We'll
on
get
that.
to share that with our backstages.
While we were at UK Games Expo, we spent some time with a company called Haba that do some wonderful games.
I'm a Haba fan.
Geared towards youngsters and families and things like that.
Yes.
And they have just won a big award, Ben.
Yeah, so Harbour were lucky enough to win the Kinderspiel des Jahres, which is the award given to the best Euro game for children. And this was won for their product called Dragon's Breath. This is a game for kids and big adults. I mean, big kids.
Yeah.
So wait, so I'm not allowed either way then.
No, you're just totally ruled out, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is a game called Dragon's Breath, where you play as a selection of different dragons, and you're trying to melt this crystal structure in the middle of the board, and you choose which sparkled gems you want to pick up. And so when you remove the rings from there, the gems fall down and you collect them. It's a very simple and easy game to play. Good for, as I say, big kids and little kids as well, and a well-deserving winner. Harbour do some absolutely fantastic games. I believe we showed off Super Rhino Battle and stuff like that. I've played Super Rhino, with really good, fun dexterity game where you're building up a tower and trying to get to the top of it and fighting each other on the way up as well, which is very cool. They do a lot of other ones as well. One of the big famous ones is a game called Tier of Tier, or Animal Upon Animal, which is where you're stacking wooden animals on top of each other. It's very good fun. It's nice dexterity-based stuff as well, which is very cool. So good for little hands to get stuck into and things as well.
Bring up the picture. You know, looking at that, Sam, that with the dragons and all in it. Bring this one up here.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
With the dragons and everything in it. It looks like the perfect introduction to Board of the Rings, doesn't it?
Indeed.
Boom, boom! I'm here all week, folks.
I think Habit are one of the great ones of the industry, because they're giving kids the chance to get in and start learning those skills early without knowing that they're learning them.
Yes.
You know, everything that a game can teach you, so be it simple mathematics, dexterity, actually just problem solving, communication.
Yep.
Getting that into kids' minds early is great.
And no beatings or bribery involved at all. It's just all fun.
And the big thing about it is that the Harbour games are genuinely good fun to play. Obviously you get some sort of like cardboard and plastic tap for people to play with and stuff, and all that kind of thing. But these are genuinely good games.
The only board games I can remember playing as a kid were, because my dad always said that board games are well named. Let's leave them bored.
Me and your dad, man, we really get on well. Yeah, we love the same kind of jokes.
Yeah, the only ones I had knocking around the house were like Monopoly and Animal Market.
Yeah, the classic old Milton Bradley stuff was what we always had in the house.
Yeah, so it's great to see that expanding so much.
Yeah, well, let's deviate for a moment, because it wouldn't be a weekender if we didn't have a deviation. Yeah. But it is that time of year again, folks. Cast your votes for this year's summer travel games. Because we're coming up in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be talking about the summer travel games. What is your hot picks for taking on holiday this year? Every summer, you want to take on holiday. So what has been on your radar? For me, it'll definitely be Escape the Dark Castle.
Yeah.
Reason being, we're going to holiday in North Wales this year. Last year
you're going to scare the crap out of your kids if you're camping next to a castle, aren't you?
No, better than that. Last year we were there, and the thunderstorms were absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So in the evening, it went totally black, and the lightning was bunching, the thunder was going. I think a game of Escape the Dark Castle during a thunderstorm with the candles and all going, it's going to scare the shit out of them. I can't wait.
Well, you just scared the crap out of me, because I just remembered it's Father's Day today.
Yep. Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
We should have kicked off the show with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, cast your votes. I want to know, what is your top tips for travel games that are good to take on holiday. So the criteria are careful with the compact, easy to move around, careful with the number of components, careful with the amount of play area that's needed, because you can't take something that just requires tons of play area. So it's all about that space, fast to play.
I have some awesome ideas.
Get them in, and maybe we'll do this next week.
Yeah,
we'll make this the main feature next week. Is all about the holiday picks of 2018.
I'll have to get looking.
Yeah.
All right.
And if you can give me some ideas for Father's Day presents.
Yeah, something that
I think it's quickly
something you can make in the next 40 minutes.
Yeah, there we go.
Right, I have an idea for Father's Day presents. Every father loves little dinky cars, okay? And with Gaslands coming out, we've all got loads of little dinky cars. And now Battle Foam are giving us somewhere to stick them.
Yeah,
excellent.
So yeah, the guys at Battle Foam have put together a little bit of a thing alongside the people behind Gaslands. So they've collected together a whole set of different foam and accessories that you can use for keeping all your cars safe. Because one of the best things about this game, obviously, is that you can make and fix your own cars, and you don't want them to break before you start smashing them up on the tabletop.
Correct.
So you get yourself some Battle Foam stuff. They've designed a whole bunch of different foam inserts that will go into a variety of their different cases, as you can see here. And they've done a thing with the way that the foam works, where you can sort of modularize. I guess that's a good word for it. Where you can move the spacings on them, so if you've got bigger trucks and all that kind of thing. Because obviously, a lot of the stuff you're using for Gaslands, as I say, is being made by yourself or whatever, and so all the scales are going to be a little bit off and all that kind of thing. So. They've designed foam that can be used for all these different bits and bobs, and of course they've got some foam for the accessories as well. So if you've got templates and all those other kind of things like that, you've got options there too. So
that is a smart piece of design right there. Really, really liking that one. I also like the black label box. Suits that, doesn't it? It has that kind of heavy duty kind of a feel for something like Gaslands. It's very cool.
Just so you're aware as well, at this point they're available on the US store, but I'm fairly sure they're going to be available very, very soon on the UK store as well. So just watch out for that. If you can't see it on the UK store, it will be there soon. So yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Right, in our final one, we have. I was chatting to John about this just a little while ago about how I would love to start doing some Pacific stuff based around bolt action, and lo and behold, we have some new Pacific sets.
They've been bugging the office again.
Yeah, so the guys at Warlord Games have continued with what I like to call their Battle of sets.
Yeah.
And this is the set of different bundles that you can pick up from Warlord Games for getting started into bolt action, or indeed expanding on a force that you might already have. One of the big things that you can see there is their Battle for the Island set, which comes with 2 sets of plastic models. You get some command kits to go alongside it as well, as including some big guns and a tank and some terrain and objectives as well. So you can kind of theme your tabletop to make it fit in with the Pacific Islander idea. So yeah, you've got that one, and then of course there's something a little bit bigger. If you want to go all in, there is the large 4th Marine Division 1st Company 23rd Marine Regiment USMC 3,000 point force. Metal and resin and the plastic kits and all that kind of thing. But going back to what we were looking at before, that first set at the top, that is that really cool entry point that I've talked about on things like the Hobby Hangout and on the weekend before as well. All you need to do to play bolt action really is get yourself one of those plastic kits. You get like 30 models in one of those things, so you can kind of make your own little skirmish force to play some games out on the tabletop. Imagine just getting used to the rules, playing as the Americans and the Japanese, playing on a very small board. Maybe it's a 3x3. You've got your infantry squads down there as you're learning about order dice and things like that, and fighting out a proper skirmish ambush deep in a jungle somewhere. That could be very cool.
My favorite detail from this is the objective markers in the middle here, because it looks like it's all the entrances into the cave systems that you would have had in the Pacific Islands. Very cool stuff.
Go to the US Marine Corps one again. Oh, that was just
This make you happy?
Oh, look at it.
This make you happy, Warren?
Oh, come on, guys. That is just.
It is very cool.
Oh, that is just awesome.
I like the medicate work there.
So I'm clearly looking at that. That is so obviously 4th Marine Division, 1st Company, 23rd Marine Regiment, UMSC. And it looks like it's about 3,000 points as well. It's like,
and
man.
Obviously, one of the big things about Warlord is they're continually adding and growing on their ranges as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a lot more plastic kits and a lot more sort of focused in metal kits as well for specific units and upgrades and speciality bits and bobs as well. So keep an eye on that, because they update things every week. So,
thank you for that. That's been the news. Right. Did you know we have a massive invitational painting competition going on between by Dimension Games and ourselves, where we have invited 10 of the best painters in the world to compete for a $10,000 prize. Where they'll be painting some miniatures from the brand new range from Dimension Games called Celestial, and these first miniatures I believe are from the Celestial Genesis. What we're going to do is we're going to be hosting a live night where we're going to be doing a combination of Hobby Night Live. We're going to do an awards and announce the winner first, and then descend into a Hobby Night Live afterwards. We're thinking around July. We'll talk to you about it in next door. But the first of these pieces have started to arrive in with us. So how about we go next door and we show them?
Hello, I'm Carlos from Corvus Belli Infinity, and you're watching The Weekender on beastsofwar.com.
The Celestial Painting Competition is now down to its final judging.
Yep.
Models are starting to arrive.
They are indeed.
Okay.
I think we've only got 5 left to arrive.
Yeah. So I'm feeling entirely scared, so I'm going to take a step back.
Yeah, no, you two do not look or breathe near these.
Some of this stuff is so amazing.
Hold it.
I mean, so amazing. So let's let's just recap. So we're going to have We're going to have a live show where we'll be announcing the winner. We'll probably coincide that to do a live show and a live hobby night live all at the same time.
And we're planning for that first week of July. First full week.
Provided everything arrives on time, it will be the first week of July. If it doesn't, it'll be the last week of July. Provided everything arrives on that time.
Yeah.
Okay?
We'll see how it goes.
Let me say their names, please.
Oh, God.
I apologize to you all.
Careful, Sam. Don't lean over the table.
So, the Celestial Paint, it was an invitational, okay? And the painters that have went up against one another for a $10,000 grand prize.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous prize.
That's awesome, isn't it? We have... No, and it's worth reiterating, this is Celestial's range.
Yeah, this is the new range of miniatures by Dimension Games. The range are called Celestial. I believe the first release are called Celestial Genesis.
Yeah. So we have... Oh, this is my favorite bit, pronouncing the names. Enrique Velasco.
Yes, who I think they painted this one.
Be careful now, because if you get this wrong, they'll be very cross.
Yeah.
So we reserve the right to be wrong on some of this, but we'll get it right for the night. We have Alexandra... Oh... Jesnowski.
That's this one here.
This is actually my favourite one.
No bias, so no.
Yeah, you're not allowed to say that. You're not allowed to say that. You're not a judge anyway.
Yeah,
we'll talk about the judges in a minute. Fabrizio Russo.
Who I think did this one. Yeah.
You guys have the most wonderful names, you know that? And then we have Francesco Farabi.
Which did this beautiful piece here.
Yeah.
It is gorgeous.
No
They're
bias,
all gorgeous.
no
They're all
bias.
gorgeous. No bias.
Yeah.
We have Antonio Pena Jimenez.
I think that's Jimenez.
Jimenez.
Yeah, that one hasn't arrived yet.
Okay, we have Diego Esteban Perez.
Which is this one here.
Oh, man, these make me weep.
They're so good.
We have Sergio Calvo.
No, that one hasn't arrived yet, I'm afraid.
Ben Comets.
No.
And Sergei Chasnik.
Would that not be Sergey?
Sergei Chasnik.
Please send us all phonetic readings of your names.
We're going to get the phonetics right on this, okay? And then we have the judging panel that we've established for this. So for the judging panel, the judging of this is a combination of the judging panel and public votes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can go to the Celestial Miniatures Facebook group and cast your votes there.
Yeah, so that's all being cast. Also, all of these painters have been invited to come and put their work in progress and things like that into the project system over here at beastsofwar.com. So come on over, check out the projects, and check out some of the other projects for community members as well.
It's a great way to see the different stages that went into making these beautiful pieces of art. I believe you guys were looking at one of them on the Hobby Hangout.
That would be this one.
Yeah.
Simply gorgeous work on it.
Okay, so the judging panel is made up of Angel Heraldez, Tommy Soul, Christopher Handley, Romain Dormont, or Romain, Thomas Menez, or Thomas Menez, Dave Taylor, and Ruben Martinez.
Who is the painter for the official line.
He's the official painter of the
From
Celestial
Big Child,
range. So all very, very capable painters from a wide array of the industry there. So all the painting is now finished. Everything is being shipped into us. Yeah. And yes, can we point out a few details and stuff? Right, let's get stuck in.
One I particularly want to point out here is if you look at the hand there. Careful when you're touching that, Justin. Careful.
Very delicate.
Careful. You see the cool array of lights on the whatever magic or technology they're casting, and then it's reflected
that looks like a
down.
Blue bollock of death in the hand there, so.
It's reflected down on the base below.
Oh God! Look at that. Yes, I hadn't noticed that.
Yeah.
So the actual magic blue device is casting almost like a laser effect.
Yes.
Oh man, that is beautiful.
Maybe she works in a disco.
Oh, that is so beautiful.
And
Coming
this one-
across this one, I love the tone effects on
Yes. A lot of the painters have been finding creative ways to use other models from the range as well.
Yes. The other thing is, if you look at the freehanding and stuff on the leg.
Oh, yes,
all of
yes.
the
If you just want
texture
to
and
rotate
pattern.
it this way.
The texture and pattern on the legs. Just look at that.
The cracking
That
is
is
incredible.
Insane. The blending then on the next one. Sam.
Yeah. This one I particularly like for its use of monochromatic colours.
Oh, it's just the
Well,
blending.
it's not monochromatic, but you know what I mean. That
Yes.
sort of twilight look.
Yeah. It's just so beautiful. The blending is so smooth.
Yeah, for me, it's the fact that it's sort of two opposing source-like colours, with
Yes.
the green and the red.
Again,
Yes.
this is one that I believe uses a second miniature from the range in that framing, the basing around
Yeah.
it, all those pieces sticking up around it.
There's definitely two opposing ones on that. You know, it's but the face just gets me.
Yeah.
If you get to in close to the face, you see some tribal tattoos in there as well. Careful, Warren. Careful.
wow.
So you do. It's just stunning.
Yeah.
Stunning.
Careful.
Then onto this one here, the choice of color on this, it just pops.
I will say I have a minor heart attack every time someone looks near these things.
Yeah.
Being as delicate as possible. It is a really alien feel with that skin tone choice.
Isn't it?
And with even just the way that it's displayed with that skyline behind it.
The skyline's beautiful. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful touch, actually. As plinths go, I think Lloyd would even forgive this one. It's such a beautiful, beautiful miniature. The face work on this, is incredible. It's just fabulous.
The cloth work down the side here is beautiful as well. So seeing that
Look at
silky shimmer.
It just feels like silk. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's just so beautiful.
Again,
we'll be looking at all of these in a lot more detail on the live night, and then check out this bad beastie
Yes.
here.
This is possibly one of my favourite models from the range.
Yeah.
It looks completely alien, and I just love the way they've designed this Japanese gate to frame it.
Yes. There's a lot of work has went into that, isn't it?
For me, the actual plinth that it's on, seeing the clear resin cast in through essentially, I think that's burl wood,
Yeah.
just to fill those voids and actually make it just that little bit nicer is great.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Well, if you look at the paint on the body itself, you get this very cool organic light seeping through the cracks.
Yeah.
It's an effect I really like.
Gorgeous. Simply gorgeous.
I cannot wait to see the rest come in. This has been a fabulous process watching this contest come together, and once again a massive thank you to all of the invitational paintees that have been getting involved in it. You're like gods. To us,
Yes.
just looking at what you guys have come up with.
Yeah, I'm just sitting there going, God damn you and all your talent.
And that's why none of us were on the judging panel.
Yeah.
We went for the most qualified people, the group that we could.
I like it when they paint in green.
So we've had updates in.
Yes.
So if you come across the website, we'll link them in the show notes. But if you want to see what the judges have been giving a commentary as we've been going along, haven't
Yeah,
we? So if you want to read the commentary from the judges to see what their thought process and stuff like that has been, it's a fascinating insight into the world of the professional painter, because you have the 10 professional painters doing it, the professional judges doing it. And it's just incredible seeing their thought processes and the details that they pick out in a miniature. Because oftentimes they're very different than the details that we pick out in a miniature.
Well, I can guarantee you Roman has probably been sitting with his colour wheel.
Now I actually filmed an interview with two of the judges, with Roman and Ruben.
Yeah.
So if you want to go back and check those out, we'll be sure to link that in the description below, as well as our interview with. I've suddenly forgotten his name. I hate it when this happens. No, not Yuchuan. It wasn't Yuchuan. Byron.
Byron, yes.
Yeah, Byron Levitt from
This is what I just
Dimension
did quietly
Games.
there.
Well done, Sam. Okay, right. So stay tuned. We'll be bringing more updates as they come along, and we'll keep you posted about a live celebration night when the winner will be announced. And remember, you can get involved in the voting. Head across to the Facebook page that's linked in the show notes below and cast your votes.
Is this another opportunity for us to get our tuxes on?
Oh, I think no. We might.
Well,
have to
mine. I'm wondering will it still fit.
I'm thinking painter's smocks.
over a tux.
Okay, guys. Right. Let's get back.
Hi, we're the guys from Foreground.
And you're watching The Weekender from beastsofwar.com.
The Weekender, beastsofwar.com. Nailed it.
Those minis.
Oh, my word.
They're incredible.
It's just incredible.
Yeah.
What they can do. I'm just over the moon looking at those.
Yeah.
So we'll be bringing you more on those. Check into the show notes because, like we said, we've asked the painters to go in and create projects on these. So check the show notes over here on beastsofwar.com for links into any projects that they've got set up between now and then. We'll keep hounding them, pestering them to get their project set up. If you're watching this and you're a painter, I'm sorry if I butchered your name. Set up a project and I'll get it right next time.
Yeah.
Basically, just put it in as one of your posts saying, for Warren, phonetically. This is my name.
I've genuinely been looking at these because we've been putting together the post with Sam over the last couple of weeks and things like that, and seeing the progress that these guys have been going through, and girls have been going through, has been absolutely fantastic. Some amazing techniques on show for like non-metallic metals and all that kind of thing. So yeah, and stunning miniatures.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. Right, to start to finalise out the show, let's talk about some Kickstarters.
Yeah.
And we have a prize that we're giving away at the very end, so stay tuned. Right, first one. Oh, it's obvious. Solomon Kane has kicked off.
Yeah, and went nuclear.
Ben, how are we doing?
Yeah, so the campaign is going very well indeed from the guys at Mythic Games there, bringing Solomon Kane to the tabletop. As you might have seen as part of our Let's Play and our coverage through this week as well, they've been doing exceptionally well bringing their callbacks to life, where you get to play as Solomon Kane, and, well, you're not necessarily as Solomon Kane, obviously. You play as the aspects of faith around him.
Yeah, his
guiding him on
virtues.
his journeys and his storytelling adventures through the world of all his stories and things that you've heard from Robert E. Howard and things like that. I believe, actually, talking of players, they have actually looked into more detail about the solo mode and how that works in their current update, which was very, very cool indeed. But as Justin was saying as well, they have burst through their initial funding goal, and they've been unlocking stretch goals left, right, and centre. They've been adding in, I think it's a new sort of aspect of faith to guide them as well, one of the new virtues, which is called Providence. And there's also, I believe, Matthew Hopkins as well, who was one of the original witch hunters, who's been added in there as a miniature that you can use on the tabletop as well. And of course, with everything that comes from Mythic Games, there's all sorts of extra bits and bobs that have been thrown in there too. So you've got new map tiles, new abilities with the dice and the cards and all that kind of thing to upgrade them as well going forward. But yes, a very awesome looking game, as you will have seen in our Let's Play. If you haven't watched it yet, make sure you go and check that out. And the thing that's really stuck with me for this one is the way that it actually tells this amazing narrative on the tabletop. Now, I play a lot of Gloomhaven, so Gloomhaven has this really nice tight narrative feel to it when you're sitting down to play through your quests, and so it was really nice to see that being brought forward in games like Solomon Kane here. We're actually playing through a little bit of a story, and it's not just about fighting with miniatures on the tabletop, it's about telling a little bit of a tale at the same time, which I thought was very cool. So.
Now, I had noticed that some people were wondering about the fact that the game is quite slow.
It is, yes.
But there's something to take into account on this, and it maybe become obvious after you've watched it. But cooperative games are often like that, especially a cooperative storytelling game, because the purpose of the game. And this is, you need to know what a game is actually trying to achieve, because what you might think is a fault in the game is actually the core purpose of the game. So a game often like this is about having the players constantly communicating with one another. Yeah. So it's that constant dialogue that is going on and building up between them as they decide what they're doing. And cooperative games often do end up like that. And the real, I suppose for me, the real tick box of a good cooperative game is
it gets you
constant dialogue between the players.
Yeah. Bear in mind, there's also that aspect of when you're sitting down to play a cooperative game for the first time, you're not entirely sure about exactly what everyone else can do at the table. So learning about that together and learning as you go through it, once you learn about the meta between your little tight group of players that is playing Solomon Kane, you're going to be starting to get a little bit more sort of into how people work, and you won't have to do so much talking and all that kind of thing as well. So
And of course, they have unlocked Providence, the new virtue that allows for solo play. So, that Providence is basically all of the virtues in one.
It was an interesting thing. It got me to thinking, because I know that attention spans are getting shorter and shorter, and I'm somebody.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, I'm somebody, and him too, that struggles with attention span as well. But I've got to say though, one of the things that is worth taking into account is sometimes you don't need to be in a hurry to have fun.
I played Solomon Kane and I actually had a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I usually like faster moving ones, but this one I did get. The fact that it's slower moving allows the atmosphere of the scene to build up in your mind.
Yeah,
and which fits for the source material as well.
Yeah.
It isn't the fastest of
I think it's because a lot of people were maybe coming to this and seeing, and the initial impression was that this was going to be some kind of like dungeon crawling fighting game.
Yes.
But it's divorced from that in so much that it's about the story and telling the tale of Solomon Kane and him uncovering these mysteries on the tabletop. So I think it's one of these ones where you have to get in and learn a little bit more about it. When the rulebook comes online from Mythic and everything shows up on the Kickstarter, you'll look a little bit more in depth on that. And once they've, as Az was saying during the playthrough as well, once they've expanded on the narrative portions of the game as well and added a little bit more of that flavor text in there, I think you're going to start to see this game coming into its own as a little bit more of an individual property.
It's interesting because one of our favorite games, Kingdom Death Monster,
it's not super quick.
It's not particularly quick either. No. Kingdom Death takes a lot of dialogue. And if you've watched any of our shows, it's a constant dialogue as well.
But it's got something that I think again like this you have to have that sense of being in a pressure cooker, that everything is ramping up. Did you feel like that, Sam, as you were playing through the game, that things were weighing down further and further and keeping the tension
but
there?
It was subtle. It was a slow build up. When you saw the shadows, now the shadows aren't physical monsters. Well, they can be. They're more like a representation of darkness encroaching. And as those start to appear on the board, you get that feeling of the oppressive feeling of the game starts to build up, and it is a slow build. Especially when you know that there is some evil thing later for you to face. Like for the one we played through, the ghost was always going to be there. You knew that was lurking in the wings.
But not exactly where it was.
He's such an intense little dude. He frightens me sometimes.
Which is why he's going to be amazing when he DMs.
Well, I'm going to talk about this. Last week for the backstage show, we're going to do an RPG, and the three guys pitched their RPG, their best GM, with the voices and everything.
Muddy porridge.
Oh, Ben, you were a great GM.
So we asked our backstagers to vote. Please come across, join backstage. You'll have such a laugh. Come across, check it out.
You'll learn all about Warren's Leisure Centre.
Because in tomorrow's show, we're going to declare the winner of that. We also have a great discussion going on. At the moment, we have this back and forth with the community is kind of like a cross between Kickstarter has been the savior of gaming, Kickstarter is the evil of gaming. We've got this great in-depth conversation going on at the moment. There's a load of comments that we're going to go back across and address tomorrow as well. So if you've never done it, come across, join backstage and check it out. If you've been a backstager previously, come on back in. We kept your seat warm for you. So come on back in and join us for that conversation, because we have a load of backstage stuff planned for the future now. We'd love to get you in and supporting it and getting a lot of that going on.
Yeah, and if you're coming back to backstage, you're going to get access to the stream archives if you've been enjoying John's painting streams through the weeks.
Right. Last Kickstarter.
Yep.
Yeah.
This one has me excited, Ben, as well. This is Escape the Dark Castle.
Expansions.
Yes.
Doing really well.
Thieveborn, at the UK Games Expo, launched their second Kickstarter campaign, which took you back into Escape the Dark Castle with 3 new adventure packs. Well, technically 2 new adventure packs, but anyway, yes. So there are 3 adventure packs that you can pick up to add on to your existing game. There is Cult of the Death Knight, which was available during the first campaign, but is now available with this one as well. Scourge of the Undead Queen, and the Blight of the Plague Lord. Each of these individual new adventure packs adds new mechanics into the game. So with Scourge of the Undead Queen, for example, you've got the addition of companion cards that will come and companion characters that will come with you and journey you through the castle trying to escape alongside you. In Blight of the Plague Lords, you have the Pestilence, which can infect your character and make things a lot worse. Each of these can be played as individual adventures, which is very cool in its own right, with, for example, the Plague Lord or the Undead Queen as the final boss, or you can mix it all together with what you already have for Escape the Dark Castle to create a much more interesting melting pot of adventures to dive into. For anyone who doesn't know, Escape the Dark Castle plays a little bit like one of your old school adventure game books, something like that, where you sit down with a bunch of players, you flip through the cards as the different rooms are revealed in the castle, and you have to get to the very end and defeat the boss to escape. If any of you die, you lose the campaign. So it's a very tough one, and it's very cool. And it's filled with amazing evocative art as well, which is very old school and reminds you of old fighting fantasy books, which is very nice.
I love this. I play this with my children. My little one, Manny, he adores it. He's at that age where we all remember it, where we turn over a scary card and he gets terrified by it. So
I was 26.
After about 3 cards, in order for him to continue playing, I have to read it all in the voice of a fairy. We have just went down the dark corridor where we have met the monster. And he's laughing and giggling at that.
Versus what? Your gargoyle voice?
Well, any normal voice at all, it scares him. But if I do it in a fairy voice, he's fine.
just so you're aware, you can actually watch me playing the game as well as our Let's Play, because I've just realised that my friend's YouTube channel actually has the video on the Kickstarter page. There's bad language in it, so bear that in mind. But we are actually on there, which is quite funny.
That's all right. Anyway. So is the Base of War one without bad language.
Yeah, and we'll get Ben's naughty version.
Maybe this is one we'll have to revisit for when.
I would like to revisit this for another playthrough now that the final version's out. Because the game we played was with a prototype.
Yes,
copy.
it was a demo game.
And now
absolutely.
Now that there are expansions, maybe we can play through one of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
The exciting thing as well with this is that as part of this second Kickstarter campaign, Themeborn have added a whole bunch of extras into this as well. Now, during the first campaign, they did a cassette of soundtrack, which you can play in the background when you're playing the game, which is very cool. But in this one, they've got the likes of the collector's box, which comes with a whole bunch of extra stuff to sort of bling up the game. So you've got some bags and some.
I
really
like
nice
the
stuff
idea
like
of this collector's box. Containment of games whenever you add expansions to them is so important. Having this in there is nice.
It looks classy too, doesn't it?
It does. It has a real sense of just suaveness to it.
You really like
and then
it.
2 of the other really cool accessories that I particularly liked was there's the playmat, which is very nice for keeping everything centered on your character, so you've got space for items and equipment and all the other effects that are affecting you. And then the very cool thing is the death book. Now, as I said, in Escape the Dark Castle, characters die, and they die a lot.
Yeah.
But this tells you exactly how you died. So you flip to a page in the book, and it will describe in minute detail exactly how your character came to its end.
Fuck.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So if you really like for example, in Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, they had the very cool critical hit chart, which talked about how limbs were flying off, all kinds of horrible things like that. That's been added into the Escape the Dark Castle book, as you can get as part of this Kickstarter. The other cool thing as well is I think it's part of the collector's box. They've actually added in some epilogue cards. So if you escape or you fail, there are some really cool narrative things that are talked about at the very end of your adventure, so you can add a little bit more sort of bluster and fluff to your escapades on the tabletop, which is very cool.
Fantastic. Cool. What a great Kickstarter.
Do you know what that reminds me of, that wee death book? It reminds me of an old video game. It was an arcade game, and you were a bumbling knight. It was all hand-drawn animation. For the life of me, I can't remember the name of it right now, but any time you made the slightest mistake, it gave you a very graphic, still cartoony death for the night.
There you go. Right.
Was it Dragon Castle? Was that the one
something like that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Comments below.
I know exactly the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it either.
Any other day I would know.
It was that was back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about. It was basically like a cartoon.
Yeah, it was an arcade machine.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Anyway, that wraps up our 2 Kickstarters. Right, competition-wise, we were giving away the Blighted Ogren-themed Force. When I read out the name of the winner, you're going to think I selected this one by choice and that I went and deliberately picked this. but I didn't. It was selected at random. Congratulations, Leather Balls.
Awesome name, buddy.
He would love, I'm assuming he or she would love to see sea monsters forces converted into an army box where sharks and angler fish monsters would be insane. You're right, Leather Balls. Congratulations. Go down below, Leather Balls. Down in there.
Bottom of the page.
Fill in the claim a prize form. Look, Ben, Justin, Sam, thank you for a wonderful Saturday. It's always great to spend the Saturday mornings with you. Most of all, thank you to you guys. Look, if you missed last week's XLBS, go and watch it today. Go and join XLBS backstage. Watch it today. Cast your votes for the RPG Egypt of the Year, okay? And then join us tomorrow morning, and we will have some more fun. And get involved in this Kickstarter conversation. It's been really fascinating. Right. Thanks to all. Have a great week of gaming.